Thank you very much, President Ron, for your inspiring message and your perspectives. It's refreshing to hear it in the context that you have presented to us. I'd like now to move on to the results of our $1 million drive. And I need to ask you back on stage again soon. And also Vice President Ann. But to get to the point, as a result of our $1 million drive, which was a 10-week effort, very concentrated, at a time of the year which is probably tough on our governors, and I really appreciate them stepping up because they want club visits and so on. But we received in those 10 weeks 168 major gifts or bequests, each of $10,000 or more. That amounts to, in terms of cash and cash equivalents, to $1,503,500. And bequests, so cash gifts of $1,503,500, and bequests worth $2,452,000, for a grand total of $3,955,500. President Ron, on behalf of the donors of Zone 33, this is for the Rotary Foundation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to get to do a few more of these, and I might just mention this. There's a good possibility I might just mention this $3.9 million number. Not necessarily in the way of a challenge, but sort of like this best class thing, you know. I think that that might set a standard for others to emulate, and that would certainly be my objective in doing that. But I thank you very much, and I think Vice President Ann might like to say something.
I want to thank everybody for the great work that you did, but we did this, you did this in 10 weeks. I want you to remember that, 10 weeks. We raised almost $4 million. And we have until May to continue raising funds for the Rotary Foundation. So you will be hearing from Feroz again, and probably me too. But I think this is great, $4 million in 10 weeks. Stop and think about that. That's Zone 33. We are believers, Ron Burton. We are people who contribute continuously to the Rotary Foundation, and I hope you'll brag about Zone 33. It is the best there is, okay?
And I'd also like to add that we, during these 10 weeks, acquired 2 new Arts Club Society members. That was a 20% increase for the zone. We went from 10 to 12. So, now, ladies and gentlemen, for any endeavor like this to succeed, you need a good team and even greater and better teamwork. And I have the privilege to have worked with the best from our zone. So I'd like to recognize the various teams that worked on this 10-week drive, including tonight's event. As I said, we first discussed this concept at the end of July, so it seems, you know, to convert that concept to reality in such a short time, and to then get on with the business of reaching out to potential donors like you and many others across 15 districts, is logistically something that is hard to do, but we have a bunch of people who did it. So I want to recognize the folks, and if you would stand as a team and remain standing, and then if you can hold your applause. But first, the Zone $1 Million Drive Committee. We set up a team that had 1 or 2 representatives from every district in the zone. And I think we have some of those members here, so if you would please stand. Please remain standing. Sure. Because I want to show you how many people were really involved in this effort. It was a terrific team effort. Each of these representatives then went back to their district to set up a committee of their own. And those were the people who reached out as a team again. And if there's anybody on the district committee from any other districts here, please stand also. See how we structure this. A zone committee then leads up to a district team, and so on. I also want to recognize our major gift officer, Carl Davis from Evanston, Illinois, at headquarters. Carl has worked tirelessly with us and actually has made 2 trips into the zone from Evanston during those 10 weeks to work with donors and to work with us to visit people and so on. And thank you, Carl, you've done a marvelous job. And he's got a huge backlog of bequests to work on when he gets back. Really appreciate that. And then, lastly but not least, as part of the team, our Chicago host committee, led by John Tabor, president of the Charlotte Rotary Club. You're part of that team. Is Sandy here? Yes. It is the host committee that has given you this wonderful event tonight. So, everyone, thank you very much. Couldn't have done without you as a team member. Now, for us to have raised $4 million in 10 weeks, as Anna said multiple times, and she also said, my goodness, what can we do for the rest of the 8 months of the year? That is the challenge we face. Because the mission of doing good in the world, which is the Foundation's mission, as you know, is not a one-off event. It is a part of a continuum. Right? It is part of Rotary's vision for the role that it is playing in the world. So we have to continue to look at the rest of the year and say, look, this is a wonderful start, and it is our chance to make this a historically record year for our support of the Rotary Foundation. I want to tell you something that happened to me last week. I wanted to meet with a very prominent business person in Charlotte. He is extremely successful from a business perspective. He is known not only in the US but in other countries for his philanthropic work and his business acumen. And I called up his secretary and I said, could I have 10 minutes of his time? And so I did get that time, and knowing how short the time was when I went into his office, I thought I'd better get to the point. And I said, I want you to invest in the Rotary Foundation so that we can do more of the kinds of things that are needed to make this world better. Before I could open my mouth to say anything more, he said, but of course, I must give, because Rotary changed my life. I was out of there in 2 minutes with a signed pledge. Now, how did Rotary change his life? Because 45 years ago, in 1968, as a young man with a history degree, but nothing else to his name, no means, he was given a Rotary Ambassadorial Scholarship to come to the United States. And the rest is history. Rotary did change his life. And I'm telling you this because you do not know what your investment in the Rotary Foundation is going to do in terms of the way it's going to help people. We do not know if the people we help will become captains of industry, leaders of nations, or Nobel Prize winners. But we do know that because of your investment, the world will be a better place. Because through the foundation's programs, we will improve health, support education, reduce poverty, train future peacemakers, and make the world polio-free. We do know that with your investment, deserving individuals will be empowered with scholarships and other support so they can realize their full potential. And communities will receive sustainable solutions so they can become more resilient and self-reliant. And we do know that because of your investment, generations of future Rotarians will be able to continue to do good in the world and to address the issues and the challenges of their times, whatever they are. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your legacy. And I hope you're all very proud of that legacy, because I have an assignment for you. My request to you when you go back home is, when you go back to your club meetings and meet with other Rotarians, talk to them about your legacy and how proud you are. Ask them, encourage them to consider their own Rotary legacy. Engage them just like you have become engaged as investors in the foundation. Show them how they can change lives just as you are going to be changing lives. That is your challenge, because for every Rotarian who steps up and establishes their legacy, the impact of your legacy will be multiplied even more. Because we all work together, we all contribute in a pool that benefits the world in whatever ways that are needed at the time. So that is an opportunity for you to go back and multiply the effect of your legacy. That is how we're going to break records, not for the sake of breaking records, but for the sake of, as I remember President Ron said in one of his articles, you know, we use the wood pile, but we need to replenish it and leave it higher than we found it for the next set of people, right? And that's why we're doing what we do. So, take that challenge and that opportunity home with you. To finish, I'd like to thank President Ron Burton again and Jeddah for taking time from your amazing worldwide trips and journeys that you make to come to Charlotte. You are now unique in the sense that you are the only president who has visited Charlotte and has planted 2 trees this morning. The first one at the Mint Museum in Charlotte, right next to this huge tree that was probably a twiglet, planted in April of 1939 by Paul Harris. And the second tree at the Central Piedmont Community College, where Glenn Estes, when he was president, planted his tree. So every time you visit here, you'll be able to look at that and see how these 2 trees are flourishing. So I thank you for that. And for, again, visiting us and helping us to make this gathering so powerful. I just wanted you to know that we're going to make a significant donation to your favorite charity, which is what? You got that right first time. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an honor for me to be part of this gathering. There are a couple of housekeeping items that I was given that I need to make sure that we cover. Let's see. Excuse me. There's always housekeeping at the end of things. All right. Certainly, I know many of you are traveling back home after this evening, and for you, I wish you a very safe journey home. But the others are staying here, and if you are even in the area and want to linger and enjoy fellowship, we have a hospitality room set up. There's lots of wine left over, and food. Room 225, second floor. Or you can stay downstairs and enjoy meeting people from other districts, which is a terrific opportunity that you should try and use. Now, one more thing. There is a mystery sticker on one of the chairs at every table. Behind you, where there's a bowl, there should be a sticker, and if you get the sticker, you're allowed to take home the orchid. So, if it's on your chair, you have the centerpiece. Oh, everybody's looking. I should have left that to the end. I'm not done. I want to remind you that for those of you who are from districts where donors have not all been able to be here, I created excitement. Please, hang on a sec. You can look at the sticker later. But if you want to take back extra copies of the program and of the donor list, because every one of the donors who contributed to the almost 4 million is listed there, either individually or as a couple. All right? Please take extra copies home and give them to your fellow donors and anybody else. We've recorded much of the program, and we'll be making it available for you and your fellow donors to look at. And then last thing, you will have noticed that during dinner we gave out some flyers. And it's a cause that is very near and dear to both from President Ron's heart as well as Vice President Ann. And that is the restoration of Paul Harris's home in one of the suburbs of Chicago. Okay, we just want you to look at that and think about it. If you want to support that effort, we're trying to raise independently of the foundation $5 million so that we can restore the home and then preserve it through an endowment component of that. All right? But it's a good thing to do because it is part of our history, part of our heritage. Barry, you have a question?
Yeah.
At the registration desk as you go out, plenty of copies of those. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, thank you very much for everything you've done. Please remember what I asked you to do as my request. Spread the word, be proud of your legacy. We're adjourned. Good night.